The date is March 15, 2024. This is the Yalak Study Notes Torah Commentary, and you are listening now to another lesson from the Yalak Emet channel. This lesson today is going to talk a little bit about Eden, Garden of Eden, and what they call the fall. I may call this the problem with Eden, or something is missing from Eden. All right, my thoughts were about the Torah possibly being man-made, because it just seemed a little bit odd to me the way the story opens. And so I want to talk about this. Remember now, this is one of my Yalak Study Notes Torah commentaries, so lessons. So it's like a commentary on, in this case, on what took place in the Garden of Eden with what they call the fall. And it's geared towards helping you to think some different thoughts about what we have been taught all along. So this is the Yalak Study Notes Torah commentary, the commentary of the Lord God. Now, even though I'm talking about the Garden of Eden story, just for time's sake, because I won't even get through all of this lesson, so I'm just going to speak just a few things of the thoughts, of all the thoughts that I have. So I will skip the actual reading of the serpent tempting Eve in the garden, and, she's eating and Adam is eating as well. But I've got two scriptures to read later on as I go from the book of Amos and from the book of 1 Kings with Elijah on Mount Carmel. Now, as I was saying, the Torah seems to be man-made. Not quite, I'm talking about the Torah that we have today that you can just go to a store and buy, or the Old Testament for those in the Christian church who don't use the word Torah and you're not taught about the Torah specifically. So it's the Old Testament. I was thinking that the Torah is man-made because it seems incredible to me that someone would get a word from God, and this word, you can put it on the floor, if it's on a desk, counter, dresser at home, or bookshelf. If it's not used for a while, it can gather dust on it, and this is the word of God. But maybe that's not all the way bad, because the same book says we are made of the dust of the earth, and God put his spirit in us, he blew his breath in us, and man became a living soul. So he's going inside of flesh that is made from dirt or from the dust of the ground. It still seems strange, though. I remember a little bit about Dr. Ben, who was saying how the Bible was made up, that it was Exodus was chosen to start the Torah, but it seemed a little bit strange to start out with Exodus, of people going into slavery with no history of them. So then they later put the book of Genesis at the start to open up the Bible, so that you can get a little bit of how the people came about, the people Israel. And then the second book, Exodus, would show them going into slavery after a while. So it opens up with a little bit of history of the people. So we see that in the mind of man, it eventually comes to a place where they need to revamp the book to give a different, or might I say, a more pleasing presentation of the book that would satisfy the mind a little bit more, because it would now begin to open, not with Exodus, the demise of the people, but with a creation story showing how the whole thing started out on earth and then how the people grew to become the people that they were, who met God and eventually would be brought into slavery. They want a better presentation, so they changed it up, knocked Exodus to the second book of the Torah, and then put in a book called Genesis, Genes, the beginning, the first book. Yet we find that the book opens up not like how man thinks, that they want a better presentation, but it opens up in a very strange way, not caring about how you think, how you feel. God does not try to, or the author does not try to explain God. God doesn't try to explain himself. At the start, you get some explanation as you read the book, but it just simply, in an in-your-face kind of way, bam, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. First of all, we don't know who God is, what God is, but God created the heaven and earth. He did it in the beginning. We're not even sure if there was a beginning. We don't know, like, we just showed up on earth and somebody's telling us that there is a beginning to all of this. And we don't know, when we first meet Torah, what really we should understand. Like the first people on earth who never even knew what a book was, if they were to be presented with this, they couldn't read it anyway. So again, if Torah is man-made, it's coming at a time when people start to write books. But the first people don't even know if there is a beginning or where they came from. They just know they opened their eyes and they're alive. And we're struggling to understand, were they born big, or were they created big as adults? Or did they plop and just come out of someplace as a small baby that needs milk from a breast? Like, who's going to provide that milk? So there's just, it's a little bit of a strange opening that in the beginning God created. Right away it sets you up, according to the thinking in this Yalok Study Notes Torah commentary, a different kind of commentary view than what I read all the years of my Christian upbringing, to sizing up the scriptures in a different kind of way. Because it lets you know that there is a mystery to the things in this book. There's a mystery toward this God and his actions. He just gets up at a certain point and starts to create. So in his own existence, God has things to do. He has plans. I'm going to start creating. We don't know where he was before, what he was doing. It seems like after he creates, he's mainly concerned with life on earth, that he brought about the earth he made. We never get to understand what he's doing elsewhere, if there is an elsewhere. We don't know what he was doing before making heaven and earth, where he was living, but now in the book he's going to live among his people and live on earth and walk among them and so on. But that's just the way the book opens. Now, eventually, after some time, he makes everything, and then he makes the man and the woman there. And he gave commandments saying, don't eat from this particular tree. And we know eventually they did. The serpent tempted the woman. They could eat from the other trees, apparently a lot of other trees. But this particular tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, this one is off limits. There is also the tree of life, which they were kept from. But the woman was tempted by the serpent, to destroy something. The word for eat, right there, when they said, go on and eat this stuff, is akal in the Hebrew. Akal, which means to destroy, to burn up. I've got a whole long lesson on that. That's probably, I don't know, maybe 3 years old or something. I don't know anymore if I will do it in one lesson. That'll be too long, so I might have to break that up in 2 or 3 lessons whenever I get around to it. But the word for eat is akal, to burn up. So basically to consume, to destroy. So they are supposed to destroy and burn up something from the trees that they were allowed to eat. And but this one, do not burn up and destroy this one. Anyway, she goes ahead and she does it. Then she goes to the man and he partakes of the fruit as well. And then we call that, or we are taught to call that, the fall. So something went downhill. But while we accepted that, and I certainly did from when I was a child, I'm seeing now that there really is a problem with Eden, the Garden of Eden. That makes me wonder if the Torah is man-made, not something given by God, unlike Sinai to Moses. And if there was, then maybe this is not that exact Torah, because I'm talking about this one, because this is the one I know that we can buy in a store. But there seems to be some kind of panic in Eden. Something is wrong with the spirituality of what took place in Eden. And I understand it to be so by taking a look at the physicality of what took place in Eden. Let's jump into it. This is the Alok Study Notes, Torah Commentary, the commentary of the Lord God. This lesson is titled, The Problem with Eden. If you look at plant systems, I was looking at plants today and their immune system, the immune system of plants. So we know as humans we've got an immune system as well that helps to protect us. Now, even the plants, animals have it too, but even the plants, they've got their own immune system that will protect them and that will help to fight off anything that's going wrong, to make them get ill and to keep them flourishing and nourishing themselves until they can grow to maturity. And when you look now, humans have their own immune system as well. So what that's telling me, even the way the world itself is made, it's got its immune system. The air cleans itself. And you've got the movement of the clouds and the rain coming down. You've got evaporation, water's running as opposed to being still water running throughout the earth and rivers and so on and seas. So the earth is busy doing its own stuff, but at the same time, while it's doing its many different operations, it's cleaning itself. Even the sea cleans itself. So there's like this built-in immune system in the world itself, in existence. Many people say, even people who don't believe in the Bible, saying that there's coming a day when the different wrongs on earth will be corrected and earth will return to its prior state before all this evil took over the world. So that's like an immune system in operation that's going to clean up the system and bring it back. Now look at immune system here now going on in Eden. It's like Eden does not have an immune system or does not have one that can work. And Adam and Eve, they don't have their immune system either, or don't have one that's working. But the spirituality, it's like it was broken before they ate the fruit, not after. Hello. It's like the spirit was broken so that there was no proper immune system response. So they could fall. So there was a problem in the spirit before there was a problem in the flesh, in the eating of the fruit. Immune system, I'm reading here from Wikipedia. It says immune system. The immune system is a network of biological systems that protects an organism from diseases. So it's going to protect from diseases, right? It detects and responds to a wide variety of pathogens, from viruses to parasitic worms, as well as cancer cells and objects such as wood splinters. All right, so they threw that in there. That's interesting. So it can do powerful stuff if it's going to even take care of whatever damages might happen from objects like wood splinters. That's crazy, but it's supposed to work and help to repair the body, distinguishing them from the organism's own healthy tissue. So it's going to differentiate between what's coming in that's alien to the body, that shouldn't be a part of the body, and try to make corrections. The immune system will do that. Many species have two major subsystems of the immune system: the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system. The innate immune system provides a pre-configured response to broad groups of situations and stimuli. Let me read that again for you. Because, too many of us, we just accept the Bible just as it was. That's childish. Even St. Paul said something about when I was a child, he was saying I would have the milk, but when I'm grown up, I'm supposed to have strong meat. But we're still with the milk after so many years of biblical studies and church hopping and camp to camp and so on, and saying you're studying Torah, but you're still in a baby-like state and you don't grow. So it is a problem for me to see some people teaching the same kind of lesson year in and year out for like the past 10, 15 years and more. And it's like they don't grow. You listen to them, and you have no interest after a while because you know what they're coming with. You know what they're about. That is very childish to me. A childish approach to whatever approach one should have to the knowledge of God. And so you stop listening to them, and then you go back every few months just because of some nostalgia. You just want to hear them again, hear the voice again. But you're not going back because you are learning new things that one can say is deeper and would feed the soul. You're not growing. So let's read it again here. The adaptive immune system provides a tailored response to each stimulus. The innate immune system provides a pre-configured response to broad groups of situations and stimuli. So a pre-configured response. This means that something has been pre-configured and set up. So if God gives a command saying, do not eat from this particular tree. And notice he didn't say don't touch it. He said don't eat from it. But there should be a pre-configured response from a God who can make a world like this and configure existence itself to be the way it is. So where was the pre-configured response of the innate immune system in Eden and in Adam and in Eve that would correct something so that there would not be a fall? The adaptive immune system, now, this is the second part of the immune system, provides a tailored response to each stimulus by learning to recognize molecules it has previously encountered. So that means if it has already encountered something, it can tailor its response. So with the innate immune system, there's a pre-configured response to say, if A happens, do this. If B happens, do that. If C happens, do this. But now, if you have been through a threat already to your system, then the adaptive immune system would just pull up the records and to say, okay, we've already seen this before. We've lived through this, been through this. So we can tailor something specifically for this. We can respond to D as D specifically because we've been through D already. So tell me, people, where was the proper functioning of the innate immune system that should have been there in Eden and been operating in Eve, who should have been a very spiritual person? She's the only woman on earth, according to Torah, right there with the only man who spoke with God. And they are both in all the mysteries of Torah and the mysteries of the world. You're not getting any better revelation than they, looking up at the stars and looking down on the earth and the trees and so on, and finding the presence of God so thick that one does not need to go to heaven to experience God. You only want to go there to just witness the stuff, but you're already experiencing him here on earth in Eden, the Garden of Eden. Because everything is fresh and new, there is no sin as yet. So these are powerfully spiritual people. So now, if Eve has, because she did not yet sin prior to the serpent coming up and tempting her, and while the serpent was tempting her, she was not yet a sinner, so she has no sickness, no sin-sick soul, and so on. So she has a proper functioning innate immune system, physically and spiritually. Why was it not working to give according to its pre-configured response to a tempter coming in, a serpent, a danger approaching her? Why did her innate immune system not say, hey, let's block this? Not consider it, but block it. And also, where was the proper function of the adaptive immune system that would say, we've been through this before? Why? Because by the time she took it to Adam, and she already ate it, then the immune system in Eden, the spiritual immune system, should say, we've been through this before. Eve just took it, so we know what to do to deal with it. Adam should also have known, because the moment Eve breaks a commandment, she has broken something in the spirit world, and as the first people on earth, he's going to pick up on it that something has gone wrong in the universe, certainly in Eden. He's going to know. He's going to know. How do you think people today, after earth has degraded so much, can know sometimes if somebody is lying to them, or if their spouse is cheating on them and so on, or their boss is ripping them off, or whatever, somebody's taking advantage of them? You can know in many cases that something, the spirit just doesn't feel good, the energy is off. So you're telling me in the garden, the first two people on earth, something goes wrong, a tempter comes and Eve doesn't know that something is wrong right here, and yell out, Adam, Adam, and get him, because in unity there is strength. She handles it on her own. Her immune system was already shot. Did God set them up by giving a broken immune system in Eden, the Garden of Eden, or by giving Eve a broken or a non-functioning immune system? It seems to me like this Torah is man-made, because something is not right about that. There is a problem with Eden. Because the first time you are faced with sin, you should not just be destroyed by it. Remember, no sin is known in the universe as far as they are concerned. This then means that they have all kinds of power and strategies in the spirit to at least survive the first few attacks, or the first few hundreds of years of attacks in the spirit. People praying and fasting and studying and reading their book and their Bible and whatever, and learning, and they can ward off certain, what they call spiritual attacks and temptations and so on. They strengthen themselves in whatever ways they can. But the first time it comes up, the most powerful people to have ever lived on earth couldn't fight off an attack, the first and only attack that took them down. Because, if you feel you've been living right and so on, and you're spending time with God, you feel stronger usually when you are tempted. But if you keep sinning, then you feel more weak, you feel more guilty, which robs your strength. But these people had never sinned. They have all access to the power of God available to them at their level as humans. And they had no strategy or power or anything to deal with this situation, to protect themselves from a fall. So now the adaptive immune system should have said, by the time it got to Adam now, tempting him to eat it, when she said, hey, Adam, try this. Why didn't something rise up in him to say, hold on, the adaptive immune system is kicking into him and it's saying to him, this is how you handle this one. This is how you talk to the woman. And this is what you do with the fruit. And this is what... He doesn't even ask, where is that serpent? Because no adaptive thing is trying to come up with any strategies to protect themselves. The immune system should protect them and protect Eden. The spiritual immune system should have protected Eden. God set up people and set up a Garden of Eden and had no way himself to protect the people in the garden and to protect the spirituality in Eden. God did this. He sent Israel into so many captivities, and people say they still are in captivity today, after thousands of years of a Torah that came from God. See, Alok study knows Torah commentary, the commentary of the Lord God. Let's look again now. I was reading here now, and I found this thing about a paper cut, talking about the immune system. This is dealing with human, this page I found here about human biology from something, I can't see the long link now, humanbiology.pressbooks.tru.ca, is dealing with human biology. Part 17.4 is dealing with the innate immune system, created by CK12, whatever that means, Foundation, adapted by Christine Miller. It's showing a picture of someone's finger with a cut on it, a paper cut, and you see a little blood right there like it's trying to clot. And it says here, figure 17.4.1, darn it, paper cuts are the worst. Paper cuts are the worst. So they're talking about a paper cut, and they said it's just a paper cut. But the break in your skin could provide an easy way for pathogens to enter your body. If bacteria were to enter through the cut and infect the wound, your innate immune system, remember now the pre-configured response system, would quickly respond with a dizzying array of general defenses. Now, just for a paper cut, your innate immune system is going to come up with a ton load of general defenses to respond to the paper cut, so no bacteria can get in and infect you to bring you to a worse state than just simply having a paper cut, to make you more sick, even deathly so. But a threat that would cut and rip right through Eden and right through the cosmos and take down all of humanity from the serpent that came in. The innate immune system of Eve and Adam and the innate immune system of the spirituality of God, of Yahweh, of the Garden of Eden, had no way to protect itself. Eden had no way to protect its spirituality, its righteousness, its set-apartness. That's different from all other gardens on earth that would come later. It had no way to protect itself from something that's far more consequential than a paper cut on someone's finger. There is a problem with Eden. Now look at this. It goes on to say, what is the innate immune system? The innate immune system is a subset of the human immune system that produces rapid but non-specific responses to pathogens. Innate responses are generic rather than tailored to a particular pathogen. The innate system responds in the same general way to every pathogen it encounters. Although the innate immune system provides immediate and rapid defenses against pathogens, it does not confer long-lasting immunity to them. In most organisms, the innate immune system is the dominant system of host defense. I'll stop right there. So it's the dominant system that's going to provide defense. So the immune system, it's going to try something. It's just general responses it's giving toward the attack, but it's going to try something. It doesn't know yet if the A response would be better than the B response or the C response and so on, but it's just trying something because it's trying to make sure that this thing don't get past, don't get out of control and bring the body to great sickness and down to the grave. I'll read one more from Wikipedia here before I get into, I'm going to look up a word here and then get to the scriptures. From Wikipedia again, the adaptive immune system, also known as the acquired immune system or specific immune system, this is the adaptive now, that is composed of specialized, because it's adaptive, right? Specialized systemic cells and processes that eliminate pathogens or prevent their growth. Is somebody still listening to this? That prevent their growth. But nothing about the great spirituality that's in Eden, where most of us who know the most about Torah than we can imagine, than the rest of us can imagine, would just wish that we could be there in Eden to get just a little bit of the knowledge that they would have received from God, and that ask Adam, what was he like when he was talking to you and giving you commandments saying you can eat this, eat that, and so on. Even if you couldn't find Adam, you would just want to be there in Eden because you're going to get some divine revelation just by being in the place and walking in that garden. Just to be present there. But the spirituality of the immune system that should be protecting Eden, it was absent when it was really needed, when the people were under threat. No wonder, was it Jesus that said the kingdom of heaven suffers violence and the violent take it by force? So here is someone coming to take down Eden with a temptation as this serpent. And there is no way, right? He didn't even have to use force. It's just left wide open. Anybody could just come in there and just tempt them and take them down just with a word. Not the violent coming with force, with swords and so on. But when did the sword come in the picture? After God left the immune system blank and they were taken down and they fell, then he brought in the weapons of force to take down the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of Eden, right? Those kind of weapons, he brought it after they fell, right? To let seraphim, was it seraphim or a cherubim with flaming sword guarding the way to Eden, come with weapons of war to a people that had already fallen, didn't even have the strength of spirit to resist the devil, so to speak. And they've already fallen, so they are now even weaker, but they bring powerful weapon, this flaming sword, to threaten a people who were already fallen, down on their backs, so to speak. Does this seem strange to anyone? That there is something missing from Eden? From this Eden story? Because the adaptive immune system should have kicked in after Adam realized that Eve took the stuff. The adaptive immune system in the spirit, the system of Eden, should have connected with Adam's adaptive immune system and said, we've been here before, now we got a strategy to make sure this does not go past Eve, or we will lose everything. See, that's what should have happened. And then they could go about restoring Eve. Because the immune system is about protecting and restoring the body. The people should have been restored, but they fell, is what we're being taught. Eden should have been restored, or at least protected at first. But none of that happened. Where was God in all of this? But he showed up. After the damage was done, Adam, where art thou? Something is strange about this. Something is very strange. That God was not looking out for this. The God they said that's omniscient, he knows everything. He doesn't know a serpent is coming. And when the serpent shows up, he doesn't show up because God should be their actual immune system. He should have showed up at the time, I would think, and to tell that serpent, get your butt out of this place. That would be protective. All right, I was going to look up some etymology here, but you know what? Just for time, I'll skip that. Now, let's run to the scriptures now. Amos chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. I will punish you. Your immune system didn't work, so I'll punish you. Yeah. Because don't they teach us that Eden is a type of Israel? So this must be Israel. Because it says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. I've never known other families in this kind of way. I've never known. So that means then there's only one family that the Most High knew when this prophet was saying this stuff. So if he knew one family in Eden, the family of Adam, and then he knew the family of Israel, that means the two families are one and the same, just going by different names. Just like sometimes in the scriptures, they will call God, refer to him by different titles, call him different things. He's my provider, he's my this, he's my that. Moses said he's the Most High. Then they call him Yahweh and said that's his name. Then they just plain out call him the Lord. Right? So the family of Adam is just another way of talking in the early stages of the scriptures about the family of Israel. You only have I known. So the immune system did not function, was seemingly absent, was compromised or absent before the serpent showed up. But God says, your system wasn't working right, but I'm going to punish you anyway. You got a newborn infant in your arm and the child starts to get sick. You punish that child or you try to help them to get well. And if you can't, then you take them to the doctor. Isn't that how you do it? Do you punish the child for getting sick? But I will punish you for all your iniquities. You see, I should have just read the etymologies because I wanted to get into some stuff, and talk about ye are gods. Like, I don't know, but it's... Let me see if I can... Or maybe, I don't know, I'll just skip that. Let's just move on. Because this is crazy here. Now, this here, people, in Amos chapter 3, verse 1 and 2, this is the immune system now beginning to function late in the game, a couple thousand years after Eden fell. Late in the game. Because the prophets rising up in Israel to speak to them is the immune system kicking in to deal with the problem of sin that's coming in to infect the whole people, the whole system, the whole nation. The immune system is now working, but it wasn't working in Eden. You understand that God did not give them an immune system in Eden? But in a cruel, unfeeling kind of way, when they fell, he kicked them out. He said it drove out the man and the woman and then put cherubim with flaming sword, or what, I can't remember it now. With flaming sword. And only gives a functioning immune system later on as the scriptures go on. Is that unfair? These people were plopped into a world that they've never understood before. There's no one else to teach them on earth to learn anything from. That's whatever God said to them. And because they did something wrong, with no history of earth to learn from and any encyclopedias or any books to tell them how to live on earth and what this thing is the tree and so on, if they fall, they're just going to get kicked out. No immune system protection. There is something missing from Eden. So it makes you wonder if the Torah is man-made, because who would present a book like this to us that it just takes you all your life to figure out just a little tiny piece of it, and you still have problems with it? Is this how God presents His Word? And then you got people who don't have anything to do with God printing the book and selling it to you and saying, God wants you to have this book, to read it, so you can learn Him and love Him and so on and live right. But they are damaging and ruining the world. 1 Kings, the last one here now. 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 21 to 23. So here the immune system coming out now, because the prophets were when they spoke out to try to guide Israel back, that's the immune system functioning in Israel now to protect the system, right? Here is it functioning properly. 1 Kings 18, verse 21. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, How long halt ye between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him, but if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word. So the immune system now is kicking in to address a problem in the nation, because the body will die. The nation will go downhill. So the immune system says, we got to address this because things are going too wrong here. We've got to kick out this sin and whatever is threatening the life of Israel and so on. This is a proper functioning immune system. But that may just be the innate immune system. That just gives a general kind of stuff when the prophets are speaking out, they're addressing stuff, general kind of stuff. But because the people answered him not a word, then the innate immune system gives way to the adaptive immune system to come up with something more specific. Because in the past, miracles and so on and deliverances work. So they said, let's try one of that now. Miracle. That worked in the past to bring the people back. So they answered him not a word. So it's like, okay, we got to adapt to that. So now it goes on to say, because they answered him not a word, it said, Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only remain a prophet. So adapted now, because he's letting them know this thing is still alive. There's still some power, some life in us as a nation. I remain a prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. I will dress the other bullock and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And so the story goes on, and we know the sacrifice was offered by Elijah, because the other ones, the Baal prophets, they couldn't get a response from their God and so on. But it came down, the fire came down for Elijah and so on. So something worked out. So the immune system was making sure something would happen. The fire would burn out their sin, clear up their conscience and their heart and so on by burning up the stuff on the altar to let them see that their God is still with them, and it would bring their heart back, and then they would get rid of those wicked prophets of Baal. So now Israel was able to return. So the immune system protected the body. Both innate and adaptive immune system came out in the story with Elijah at Carmel to protect the body, but it was not seen in the first people in Eden, the Garden of Eden, who were clearly more sinless than Elijah and closer to God than Elijah. Because they never had a chance to sin before this. They never did it. Nothing is communicated to let us know that they were walking around sinning before the serpent showed up. And they had all kinds of wisdom and so on, and whatever, and mysteries and so on that Elijah didn't have. Now, let's read verse 37 to 39. Hear me, O Lord, hear me. So Elijah is praying that this people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. The immune system is correcting the stuff in the heart to save the whole system. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice and the wood and the stones and the dust and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people see the correction made by the immune system to restore the body, it said verse 39, and when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces and they said, the Lord, He is the God. The Lord, He is the God. And so the immune system functioning properly destroyed the invading stuff that was coming in to destroy the body. In verse 40, and Elijah said, take the prophets of Baal, let none of them escape. And they took them and they slew them. So now, can you see, people, that there's a problem with Eden? Something has changed about this Torah. Because why would God give you a Torah that shows Him as not protecting the people that He made to start out earth and destroying the whole world like this? And later on, to put a functioning immune system in a people after the world has gone bad. Doesn't that sound backward? Like the immune system should have been there at the start? I don't know. Thoughts for you to think of. I think I'm getting a little bit clearer idea of what went on earth in ancient times by something I found out that the Egyptians, a view that they had, it can't fit into this lesson, but in time I'm going to bring it up. And when you compare that to what's going on in the world today and whatever prophecies are left to come, whether you're reading those prophecies from the Bible or whatever people say about the stars and Hopi prophecies and whatever else is out there, and the constellations and so on, I'm getting a little idea that makes more sense to me, that the Torah seems to have been tailored around, made around. It seems it's man-made to fit into all this stuff, as opposed to a word being given directly by some God. Doesn't mean the Torah still won't work for you if you say you are Israel. But I think it's coming a little bit clearer, because I'm willing to think outside of what they taught me about the Bible and God as a child. But that's going to come some later point. Anyway, my thoughts here conclude here. This is the Yalak Emmett channel, Yalak Study Notes Torah commentary, the commentary of the Lord God. And this lesson was titled, The Problem with Eden. Thank you for listening.